did a politically connected developer end up with a fortune in public money that didn't belong to him?
And was he able to avoid charges simply by writing a check? Here's 7 investigator Ross Jones.
Mr. Diggs, how you doing, sir? I'm well. You got a minute?
Just how Douglas Diggs ended up with a small fortune in public money is a question no one wants to answer. Not the people the money belonged to, not the prosecutors asked to charge him, and not Diggs himself.
A lot of money went missing here, sir. Thanks. And I'm wondering, what were you doing with it? On my way to a meeting.
Diggs comes from something of Detroit political royalty. His father was a congressman. His mother, Detroit's first black female federal judge. Today, as a real estate developer, Diggs is involved in some of the city's biggest deals, like Little Caesars Arena.
It's a $200 million bid package.
So when the Detroit Police and Fire pension system saw an investment go south, Diggs was brought in to help pick up the pieces. It happened after the pension board gave a $10 million loan to an investor that promised to buy distressed properties throughout the city that he would then resell. But the deal turned out to be a scam. The pension board lost millions and was left holding on to thousands of homes, many of them in poor condition. Diggs was appointed by a judge to try to collect as much money as he could for the pension system by selling off the homes. But instead of cleaning up the mess, the pension board said he created a whole new one. When Diggs sold off homes, he was supposed to deposit the proceeds into a special account created for the pension system. But he didn't always do that. When one bunch of homes was sold for $144,000, he deposited that money into an account for his business. A few days later, he wrote a check for $115,000 from that account to himself.
Of course it's concerning. That's why we looked into it. That's why we had our attorneys look into it.
Diggs was ultimately removed as receiver, and the pension board dug into just how he handled all that money. In June of 2016, Diggs was deposed, and when a lawyer asked him why he put their money in his company's account, Diggs replied, "I don't know."
It is a little bit incredible to say, I have no idea how that check got into my bank account.
Peter Henning is a former federal prosecutor.
We're not talking a $20 refund check. We're talking over $100,000.
The pension board believed a crime had been committed and fired off letters to Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy, Attorney General Bill Schuette, and then U.S. Attorney Barb McQuaid, asking if they'd bring charges. They never did. In fact, according to pension board officials, neither Worthy, Schuette, nor McQuaid's office said they'd even investigate.
Every single penny needs to be accounted for.
Reginald Crawford spent 30 years enforcing the laws as a Detroit cop. Today, he relies on his city pension just to survive.
I don't understand why there isn't anyone looking into it.
One reason Diggs may not have been charged, once the pension system confronted him about their money ending up in his account, Diggs agreed to pay it back. The pension board never could come to a final tally of how much money was missing, but Diggs agreed to pay a total of $683,000, a figure that included his fees. And we've uncovered this settlement agreement Diggs signed, saying just because he gave all that money back didn't mean he was guilty of anything.
If someone had come up to Mr. Diggs and taken $180,000 from him, that would be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. That he put it into his pocket but then returned it makes it at least questionable enough that I could see a prosecutor saying, let's not take this any further.
Diggs refused repeated requests for an interview, and when we tried to talk to him outside of his home, he wouldn't talk to us then either.
I'm on my way to a meeting.
Do you acknowledge that this shouldn't have happened?
I'm on my way to a meeting.
I understand, sir, but what were you doing with all that money?
Have a good day.
It's not okay. It's not okay. Mr. Diggs is no better than anyone else. There shouldn't be a different standard here.
The offices of the U.S. Attorney and Attorney General declined to comment on the Diggs case and why charges were never filed. The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office said they only respond to referrals from other law enforcement agencies. Even still, they said they couldn't have pursued the Diggs case if they wanted to because of a conflict of interest. According to a spokesperson, Prosecutor Kim Worthy would have to pass on any case involving Diggs, Stephen and Carolyn, because she is friends with his wife.
It's good to have friends.
Indeed.
All right, Ross, thank you so much.